The man standing over you isn't your father, but you're going to call him that every day for the rest of your life. You're 12 years old. You're standing in a courtyard you've never seen before, in a city you've never visited, wearing clothes that don't belong to you. Your actual father is already gone. He left an hour ago. He didn't look back. And the worst part? He was smiling when he handed you over. The man circling you now is examining your teeth, your shoulders, the way you stand. He hasn't asked your name. He doesn't care about your name. He cares about one thing: whether you're worth what he paid. You don't know the word for what you are yet. You won't learn it for months. But when you do, when you finally understand what that word means, you'll realize something that will hollow you out from the inside. Your father didn't sell you because he was desperate. He sold you because you were valuable. And in ancient Greece, that's the most dangerous thing a boy can be. Let's back up. Not to explain, to show you how you got here. 3 weeks ago, you were home. A village in Thrace, maybe, or Ionia, somewhere on the edges of the Greek world, where the soil is thin and the winters are long. Your family isn't poor. That's the thing people get wrong. The truly poor can't afford to raise beautiful children. They expose them at birth, leave them on hillsides for the wolves or the gods. Your family kept you, fed you, made sure you grew up healthy and whole. That takes resources. And now those resources are about to pay off. Your father has been receiving visitors for weeks, men from the cities, men with soft hands and perfumed beards. They don't look at your mother or your sisters. They look at you. They ask questions. Can he sing? Can he read? Is he quick-tempered? Your father answers. He smiles. He pours wine. You don't understand what's being negotiated. Not until the morning a man arrives with a leather pouch heavy enough to bend his belt. The transaction happens in your own home. Your father counts the coins, more than your family has ever possessed at one time. The man takes your wrist, not roughly, almost gently. Your mother is crying. Your father is not. And then you're walking out the door into a cart, onto a road that leads south, toward Athens, toward a life you cannot yet imagine. Here's what you need to understand about ancient Greece, the part the philosophers don't write about. Beauty is currency. Youth is power. And a boy like you, pretty, healthy, well-spoken, is worth more than a skilled slave, more than a talented craftsman. You're not being sold into labor. You're being sold into something far more complicated. The word is Paidika. It doesn't translate cleanly. The closest approximation is beloved boy. But that sounds almost sweet, doesn't it? Almost romantic. It's not. A Paidika is a possession. Specifically, you're the possession of an Erastes, an older man, usually between 25 and 40, who has selected you for a very particular purpose. You will live in his household. You will attend his symposiums. You will be displayed at public events, and you will serve him in ways that range from the domestic to the intimate. The man who bought you is named Callias. He's 34 years old. He owns property in Athens and a country estate in Attica. He served in the military. He sits on minor councils. He is, by every measure, a respectable citizen. He is also your owner. The Greeks don't use that word, of course. They have softer language. You are his companion, his student, his beloved. But you know the truth. You know it because of one simple fact. You cannot leave. Your first night in his house, you're bathed by slaves. They scrub you until your skin turns pink. They oil your hair. They dress you in a chiton so fine you're afraid to move. Then they lead you to Callias's private chambers. He's waiting on a couch, a cup of wine in his hand. Don't be frightened, he says. You're not frightened. You're numb. Because somewhere in the back of your mind, you're beginning to understand what your father really sold. The first week is an education. Not in philosophy, not in rhetoric, in survival. You learn the rules of this new existence, the invisible boundaries that determine whether you'll be treated with cruelty or something resembling kindness. Rule 1. You do not speak unless spoken to. Not at meals, not at gatherings, not when Callias has guests. You are decoration. You are atmosphere. You are not a participant. Rule 2. You do not show desire. This is crucial. This is the paradox at the heart of your existence. You are here to be desired. That's your function. That's your value. But you must never, ever desire in return. The Greeks have a word for a boy who enjoys this arrangement, kinidos. It's not a compliment. A kinidos is shameful, corrupted, less than a man. So you must perform a delicate act. You must be desirable without desiring, responsive without reciprocating, present without participating. Rule 3, you must remain beautiful. This one sounds obvious. It's not. Beauty in ancient Greece is specific. It's narrow. It's ruthlessly defined. You must be slim, but not thin. Muscled, but not bulky. Fair-skinned, but not pale. Your hair must be kept long, oiled, perfumed. Your body must be hairless below the neck. Any deviation, any scar, any blemish, any sign of manual labor, and your value drops. You are a luxury item. Luxury items must be maintained. Rule 4, you must be grateful. This is the cruelest rule of all. Callias feeds you, clothes you, houses you in comfort your family could never afford. You are expected to appreciate this. You are expected to show appreciation every day, in words, in gestures, in actions. The alternative is punishment, not beatings necessarily. Callias isn't barbaric, but there are other ways to hurt a person. Withdrawing affection, revoking privileges, letting you know in 100 small ways that you are replaceable, that there are other beautiful boys, that you are not special. 3 months pass. You learn to navigate this world, to anticipate what Callias wants before he asks, to make yourself invisible when necessary and ornamental when required. And then comes your first symposium. A symposium is a drinking party, but that description misses the point entirely. It's a social ritual, a display of status, a space where wealthy men gather to drink, debate, and demonstrate their cultural sophistication. And you are part of the demonstration. Callias spends a week preparing you. You're drilled on posture, on eye contact, on how to pour wine without spilling, on how to recite poetry, not to show your intelligence, but to show his taste in selecting you. The night of the symposium, you're dressed in white. Your skin is oiled until it gleams. A gold band is placed around your arm, Callias's mark, his signature. Stay close to me, he says, and whatever happens, don't react. You nod. You have no idea what you're walking into. The symposium is held at the home of a man named Philemon. When you enter, you realize you're not the only boy here. There are 6 others, each one attached to a different man, each one dressed similarly, oiled similarly, positioned similarly, and every single one of them is watching everyone else. This is a competition. You didn't know that. But you understand it immediately. These men aren't just showing off their wealth, they're showing off their Paidika, comparing them, ranking them, and you're being ranked. The evening begins with wine and conversation. You stand behind Callias's couch, silent, pouring when his cup empties. The men discuss politics, theater, the upcoming Panathenaic Games. Then the conversation shifts. One of the guests, an older man with a gray beard, gestures at you. New acquisition, Callias? 3 months, Callias says. Thracian? Ionian. Ah. The older man nods, approvingly. Good stock? They're talking about you like you're a horse. And that's exactly what you are. Later in the evening, the entertainment begins. A musician plays the lyre, acrobats perform, wine flows freely, and then, as tradition dictates, the Paidika are displayed, one by one. You're placed in the center of the room, made to stand, made to turn, made to recite a passage from Homer while drunk men evaluate your voice, your posture, your potential. Not bad, someone mutters. A bit thin, someone else says. And then, I'll give you 2 minas for him. Callias laughs. He's not for sale. The man shrugs. Everything's for sale. You taught me that. The symposium ends near dawn. You're exhausted. Your feet ache. Your throat is raw from recitation. But Callias is pleased. You did well, he says as you help him to bed. And you realize, with a sick twist in your stomach, that you feel grateful. Grateful for praise from the man who owns you. This is how they break you, not with violence, with validation. You start noticing them now. The other Paidika, at public baths, at festivals, in the agora, always positioned slightly behind their Erastes, always silent, always watching. And you begin to understand you're not alone in this, you're part of a system. His name is Dion. He belongs to a man named Aristides, a merchant who deals in pottery. Dion has been in Athens for 2 years. He's 15 now, which means his time is running out. You meet him at the baths. He's the first person who speaks to you like you're human. How long? He asks. 4 months. He nods. Still new then. Is it? You pause, unsure how to ask. Does it get easier? Dion laughs. It's not a happy sound. It gets different, he says. Easier? No, different. Over the following weeks, you and Dion talk whenever you can, in stolen moments at public events, in whispered conversations at festivals. He tells you things about how this system actually works, things no one else will say out loud. The contract lasts until you're too old, Dion explains. Too old? Until you get a beard, until you look like a man. Once that happens, you're useless. And then what? He shrugs. If you're lucky, your Erastes releases you with money. Enough to start a trade. Maybe a recommendation for citizenship. And if you're not lucky? Dion's face goes flat. Then you're sold again, to someone who doesn't care about the rules, someone who uses boys after they're men. He pauses. That's when it gets bad. You think about this constantly. Your value is temporary. Your beauty is a countdown. Every day that passes, every hair that appears on your chin, brings you closer to obsolescence. And the worst part? You can't rush it. If you age too fast, you'll be discarded before you've accumulated enough goodwill, enough resources, enough of a foothold to survive the transition. You have to time it perfectly. And you have no control over the timeline. 7 months in, you've settled into a rhythm, a routine, an existence that almost feels survivable. And then everything changes. It happens at a gymnasium. Callias has enrolled you in basic athletic training, not to make you a competitor, but to maintain your physique, to keep you marketable. You're practicing wrestling when your partner, a boy from a different household, throws you badly. Your shoulder hits the ground at the wrong angle. Something pops. The pain is immediate, blinding. But the pain isn't what terrifies you. What terrifies you is the look on the trainer's face. His arm, the trainer says. It's dislocated. And in that moment, you understand. You are damaged goods. The next few days are a blur. Your shoulder is reset by a physician. The joint is wrapped. You're told to rest. But rest isn't the issue. The issue is the scar. When the wrapping comes off, there's a mark. Faint, but visible. A discoloration where the joint was forced back into place. You know what this means. Callias knows what this means. He doesn't punish you, but he looks at you differently now, the way you might look at a vase with a small crack. Still functional, still beautiful, but flawed. And flaws don't last long in this world. You become paranoid. Every meal, you wonder if it's your last. Every glance from Callias, you parse for rejection. Is he looking at other boys? Is he making arrangements? You start sleeping badly, eating less. And the less you eat, the thinner you get. And the thinner you get, the less beautiful you become. It's a spiral. And you can feel yourself sliding down it. It comes at the next symposium. The same gray-bearded man who appraised you months ago approaches Callias during a break in the entertainment. They speak quietly. You can't hear the words. But you see Callias look at you, look away, then nod. Later that night, Callias tells you, Philocrates is interested in you. Your heart stops. He's made an offer. I thought, your voice cracks. I thought I wasn't. For sale. Callias sighs. Everything is for sale, he says. It's the same phrase from months ago. This time it's not a joke. You have 2 weeks. 2 weeks until the transaction is finalized. 2 weeks in this household. 2 weeks of certainty. And then, Philocrates. You've heard stories, whispers from other Paidika, about men who prefer boys who are already aging out, who don't follow the rules, who don't care about the social contract. Philocrates is one of those men. You have a choice. or what feels like a choice. You can go quietly, accept the transfer, hope that the stories are exaggerated, hope that you can survive until you age out, or you can run. Running is suicide. You know this. A Paidika who runs is hunted, captured, returned. And the punishment for running is public. It's permanent. It's designed to make an example. You've heard what they do. The brands, the mutilations, the sales to places far worse than any Athenian household, but staying might be worse. You don't know. That's the horror of it. You don't know which option kills you faster. You tell Dion. He listens without interrupting. When you finish, he's quiet for a long time. There's another option, he finally says. What? You could appeal. There's a mechanism in Athenian law, a loophole, a thin thread of protection that most Paidika don't know about. If you can prove that you're being sold into conditions that violate the social contract, if you can demonstrate that Philocrates intends to abuse you in ways that fall outside the accepted norms, you can petition the city for intervention. It almost never works, but it exists. The problem is evidence. You need someone to testify, someone with credibility, someone who can speak to Philocrates' reputation without fear of retribution. In Athens, where reputation is everything, that's almost impossible. Almost. There's a man, Dion says, a freedman. He used to belong to Philocrates. Used to? He aged out, but he didn't go quietly. He has scars, visible ones, the kind that tell a story. Would he speak for me? Dion shrugs. Only one way to find out. The freedman's name is Eumaeus. You find him in the pottery district, working as a craftsman. He's maybe 25, still young enough to remember, old enough to carry the weight of it. When you explain why you've come, his expression doesn't change. You want me to testify against Philocrates? Yes. In public? Yes. He laughs. Boy, do you know what you're asking? You do. You're asking him to risk everything, his livelihood, his safety, his fragile freedom for a stranger, but you ask anyway, because you don't have a choice. Eumaeus doesn't answer immediately. He goes back to his work, shaping clay, smoothing edges. When he finally speaks, his voice is different. I still dream about it, he says. What he did. I wake up some nights and I can still feel... He trails off. Then, when is the petition? The petition is heard in a minor court. 3 judges, a small audience, Callias on one side, Philocrates on the other, and you in the center, speaking for the first time in public as something other than an ornament. You present your case, the evidence of Philocrates' reputation, the testimony of Eumaeus, who shows his scars, who describes in flat, terrible detail what was done to him. The judges listen. Philocrates watches with hooded eyes, and you wait. The deliberation takes less than an hour. When the head judge speaks, your heart is pounding so loud you almost miss the words. The petition is accepted. The sale is voided. Philocrates is fined, a small amount, barely a punishment. But the public record now includes his name, his reputation, his story. And you? You're returned to Callias, not as a possession, as a ward. The judges have ruled that you'll remain in his household until you age out, but with protections, conditions, oversight. It's not freedom, but it's not Philocrates. 2 years later, you're 17. Years old, there's a beard on your face, thin but visible, undeniable. Your time is over. Callias releases you with a small sum of money, not generous, but not insulting. Enough to start a trade if you're careful. He also gives you a letter of recommendation, a document that marks you as a citizen of Athens. Minor status, limited rights, but real. You are, for the first time in your life, legally a person. The morning you leave, you stand at the threshold of the only home you've known for years. Callias doesn't embrace you, he barely looks at you, but he says something you'll never forget. You survived. It's not a compliment. It's not an apology. It's just the truth. You walk into the city. Athens is loud, crowded, indifferent. Nobody notices you. You're just another young man in a chiton, another face in the agora, invisible, unowned, free. But here's the part that never makes it into the stories, the part that no one talks about. You survived, but you didn't escape. The system that bought you, that used you, that discarded you, it's still there. Right now, at this exact moment, there's another boy being sold in Thrace, another cart heading toward Athens, another Paidika standing in a courtyard, wondering why his father was smiling. The system doesn't end because you got out. It continues because you were never supposed to matter. You know what the hardest part is? Really? It's not what was done to you. It's knowing that it's still being done. To boys who could be your brothers, your sons, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. That's why it sucks to be a male concubine in ancient Greece. Not because of the abuse, not because of the exploitation, because the abuse has rules, because the exploitation has structures, because the entire civilization has decided that what was done to you is normal, good, even, educational. And when everyone agrees that your suffering is a privilege, that's when you realize you were never fighting a person. You were fighting a world. You live another 40 years. You become a craftsman, a potter, like Eumaeus. You never marry. The stigma of being a Paidika follows you like a shadow, but you survive. And some nights, when the workshop is quiet and the kilns have cooled, you think about that 12-year-old boy, the one who stood in a strange courtyard, the one who didn't understand the word for what he was. You want to tell him something, but you don't know what. Maybe that it gets better? It doesn't. Maybe that it gets easier? It doesn't. Maybe just you survive. Because sometimes in ancient Greece, survival is all you get. And sometimes that has to be enough.